exclusively on Hulu and Disney+.
Kingpin thanks you for your loyalty.
Viewer discretion is advised. On January 9th. All 5 episodes. One killer drop.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Don't miss Marvel's most intense series yet.
Maya, enough games. If you want a war, you'll have it.
Marvel Studios Echo. All episodes streaming January 9th at 6 p.m. PT. Set your Disney Plus profile to TVMA to stream.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel dropped a brand new Echo trailer. It's coming at the beginning of January. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs here, a whole bunch of brand new Daredevil and Kingpin, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. But part of the idea, as you see during this trailer, is that you see Echo and Kingpin having to reckon with their origins or their relationship with each other, and the idea that Echo has 2 different families that she has to make peace with. Her natural Choctaw family, because she is a Choctaw Indian. It seems like a really big part of the series takes place when she goes back to her hometown. Then her family with Kingpin, who's sort of like a surrogate father to her, or Uncle Kingpin, however you want to think about him. With them basically having it out over the events of the Hawkeye series in the idea that he killed her father or had him killed. But in all the flashbacks, you can kind of see that he did care for her in his own kind of way, like a father would care for a child. But when you're the kingpin of crime, it's like the most toxic relationship ever, which is why she grew up being the way that she is. So a lot of the series is her just making peace with all of that. Starting with probably the biggest thing first here, this brand new Daredevil footage. It looks like he's wearing the red suit, and it looks just like the one from the Netflix series. A lot of people wondering about this. We kind of got into this during the She-Hulk series when Daredevil came back again and was wearing the yellow and red suit. Part of the idea with them bringing Daredevil back into the MCU, like starting with Spider-Man No Way Home, even though he didn't wear any of his Daredevil suits during that, when they started bringing him back as actual Daredevil, like in the actual suit, they started giving him a couple brand new suits. Like that was the whole thing with the suit maker during She-Hulk, is that he made him a couple new suits, and he was there in Los Angeles to pick them up and help him out with his legal problems. One of them was based on the yellow and red one from the comics, like the initial Daredevil costume when he first debuted in the comics. Now it seems like he's wearing a new but old version of the red suit, like it's still based on the Netflix suit. Even the yellow and red one was based on the Netflix suit. And I think part of the idea is that when the series picks up, even though Daredevil isn't like a main character, mostly just Kingpin and Echo are like the main characters, part of the series obviously takes place in the New York City area. Like you see this explosion with the New York City skyline here next to the waterfront. When the series is going on, Echo and Kingpin are dealing with all this craziness that's going on in New York City, and that's how they run into Daredevil, because Daredevil is still keeping an eye on Kingpin, ensuring that he doesn't rebuild his power base after the events of the Hawkeye series. Part of the synopsis says that while she's making peace with her origin story, her past with Kingpin, their past, so to speak, resurfaces through the Black Knife Cartel that comes after them. The Black Knife Cartel is a really big criminal organization based in Colombia that Kingpin had dealings with when he was running the Tracksuit Bros in his criminal empire, or his fledgling criminal empire, during the events of the Hawkeye series, up to that point at least. I believe that most of the events of the Netflix series are meant to be canon, so he has been Kingpin of crime, so to speak, in New York City, but it was relatively brief. He went down at the end of Netflix Season 3, like Daredevil was able to take him down. During the events of the Hawkeye series, we saw him running the Tracksuit Bros, and he had a lot of criminal dealings. It was during that period, I think, that he had dealings with the Black Knife Cartel. At the end of the Hawkeye series, he gets taken down again by Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, so he's lost his power base again, so to speak. And it seems like for whatever reason, like something happens to set the Black Knife Cartel off, and they come after Kingpin and after Echo, so they have to band together, so to speak, put their differences aside to help each other survive. One of the other deep cuts, too, from the Daredevil Netflix series is the Black Knife Cartel was also really big in the Bullseye comics. It was like a brief Bullseye comic book where it shows him going to deal with the Black Knife Cartel. I don't think that means that Bullseye is going to show up during the Echo series or anything like that. If he were to show up anywhere, it would probably be during the Daredevil Born Again series. But there's this longer fight that you see Echo having with Daredevil in his red suit, so it just seems like he's busy watching what Kingpin is doing, keeping an eye on all of his dealings, and that's how he winds up running into Echo. Just starting at the beginning of the trailer footage here, you see Echo, not sure when this is happening in the timeline, but she walks into this warehouse that's on the waterfront in New York City area. You see the Marvel logo in the background. There are a couple important points of information about actually watching the series that they put in this trailer. So they're saying that it's simulcasting on both Hulu and Disney Plus because Disney basically just bought Hulu and they're slowly integrating it with Disney Plus. So if you pay for Hulu and Disney Plus, you might actually be able to watch all the Hulu stuff that's just on the Disney Plus app right now. Eventually, I think the idea is that like you pay one price and you get both services, but at least right now for the beta, I think you still have to pay for Hulu to get Hulu inside Disney Plus. Otherwise, you still have to go to like the separate Hulu app. But I think part of the idea is that Marvel's just going to do this with a lot of their TV series now, is that they'll just air it on Hulu and on Disney Plus for the foreseeable future, just because there are a lot of people that only have Hulu or they only have Disney Plus. They don't have both. They also state that in order to get the Echo episodes on the Disney Plus app, you have to set it to TVMA in the settings. Apparently that's just not like a default. But this is part of the idea with them doing Daredevil Born Again as TVMA. A lot of other TVMA projects is that they'll release them under this Marvel Spotlight banner that they're releasing Echo under. Echo's just like the first big thing. It's the first big TVMA series that they've done under the MCU banner. But it does make you way more hopeful seeing this being so hardcore that they can do that for Daredevil Born Again in a lot of other series too. But at the beginning of the trailer, she walks into this warehouse that you see explode later. You see this security force. It looks like there was some party there or something happened. Like this is the aftermath of some party that happened. Love the Kingpin shout out. Kingpin thanks you for your service. There's just like a security force in the background counting cash. It just seems like people that are working for Kingpin. When they open the door, one of the security guards goes rogue. He might be somebody working for the Black Knife Cartel. So part of the idea here is that Kingpin's power base is in complete chaos after the events of the Hawkeye series. It seems like she's trying to dismantle this part of Kingpin's operation herself too. We get a brand new scene with Kingpin. Notice he has both eyes and one is not damaged, so this might be a flashback. This scene with Echo reminds me of the first time she debuted during the Hawkeye series with that red light, just meant to evoke a lot of Daredevil red, like a lot of Daredevil energy just in general. Then the warehouse explodes. Echo might be the reason for that, like she might be the person that actually blows it up. Then it seems like she drives on her motorcycle back to her hometown in the Choctaw Nation. There's a quick montage of a couple different scenes. This woman going into labor could be in present day, or it could actually be Echo's mother, because I think they're going to explain her origin story during this. There's some black and white scenes, and there's some scenes that are just straight up flashbacks. I think those all get into her origin story and how they're going to explain her powers during the series. It doesn't look like she has her actual powers in any of the scenes that I can tell. But part of the idea is that she's going to get some tribal tattoos if she doesn't already have them that will give her enhanced strength, sharpshooting abilities, enhanced speed, durability. They'll allow her to echo her powers to her family members, thus the name Echo. It won't be like her powers in the comics where her main power in the Daredevil comics is just copying other people's powers, echoing other people's powers. She'll have actual low-level superpowers like Defenders-level superpowers, something that you would see in like the Defenders series, like Luke Cage-level superpowers. And another one of the abilities will be sending out vibrations for healing and for damage. The people that actually made the series at Marvel said that they just tuned her abilities up to make them a little flashier, a little more comic booky. But like I said, just in terms of actual power level, it'll put her on par with like the other Defenders characters that actually have powers. Maybe not quite Iron Fist when he's like fully powered up, but close. Luke Cage's super strength is on par with Captain America's super strength. Like he doesn't have quite the level of powers that Captain America has, so it's like around that level, like not quite Captain America level powers. Not really sure what's going on here after Echo and Kingpin beat the crap out of this guy on the airfield here, then board the plane. That's Echo in front of him, you can tell by her leg. This is that flashback scene of Kingpin beating up the ice cream vendor after he makes fun of a very young version of Echo. I think part of the idea is that he beats him up, Echo witnesses it, he freaks out a little, but then Echo isn't bothered by it. She's actually kind of enjoys it, and they go get ice cream together after he gets done beating the crap out of this guy. And it's meant to give you a vibe in general for how the Echo character winds up turning out the way that she does. Like, if she's not bothered by seeing Kingpin brutalize this ice cream vendor, then that tells you a lot about her character. There's a real big fight scene here in the skate rink where Echo takes down all these dudes here. I'm not sure where this is happening. This might be in her hometown. Notice she has a couple weapons hidden in some of her prosthetic limbs. Very handy. It would make sense that if she does this kind of work that she would hide weapons all over her body. This scene of Kingpin with the eye patch on is after the events of the Hawkeye series. The whole idea is that she didn't kill him. It was meant to be right out of the comics, and just like in the comics, when Kingpin comes back, he has an eye patch over at least one of his eyes. It was meant to be ironic in that case because we're talking about the Daredevil comics, and Daredevil is meant to be blind, and now Kingpin had been blind, at least temporarily. But he does wind up getting his eyesight back. I think the idea is that by the events of Daredevil Born Again, he'll have both of his eyes working normally again. Not sure what's happening here. Echo just seems like she's listening to someone with her hands on top of a car. This might be her about to be arrested just because there are some cop car lights in the background. One of these scenes here at the end of the trailer seems like it's from that same building where she winds up fighting Daredevil in the New York City area. When Kingpin says, if you want a war, you'll have it, I think that he's talking to the Black Knife Cartel people, not to Echo. One of the important details here, too, is at the end of the trailer, they say that all the episodes will be available to stream on January 9th, not on the 10th. So they're doing the same thing they did with the Loki series, where they're like, guess what? We're actually releasing everything like a day before. But I think part of the idea with the series is because they've sort of rebooted the Daredevil Born Again series, originally the Echo series was meant to have a much bigger ending that pushed straight into the events of Daredevil Born Again, where Echo went back to New York City and she winds up crossing over with the events of Daredevil Born Again. What they might have done now is just tune things a little bit differently in the ending so that it's a little bit more ambiguous. Like there's a Kingpin ending, and there's an Echo ending, and then they sort of imply what Kingpin is going to be doing next. Speaking of the Punisher, a lot of people asking if the Punisher is going to show up because during the last big trailer it said no bad deed goes unpunished. That's just meant to be sort of like a come to Jesus kind of situation for Echo and Kingpin. Like all the bad stuff that you've done is coming to bite you both in the ass, and I think that's through the Black Knife Cartel. I don't think that's meant to reference the Punisher, but the Punisher is still meant to be like a really big main character during the events of Daredevil Born Again. I think they're just waiting to bring him back till that. So if he does show up during Echo, it'd be like a huge surprise. I just did a much bigger video about Spider-Man 4 because apparently in the latest script for that, Daredevil and Kingpin are really big characters, so it looks like we're actually going to get our real big Daredevil Spider-Man team up in Spider-Man vs. Kingpin at some point during that movie. But there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. If you saw any Easter eggs that I didn't talk about during the video, just write them below in the comments. Big reminder too, my What If Season 2 episodes will start posting next week. They are dropping those one per day for 9 days. I'll do one video for every single episode, just like normal. Click here for that brand new What If Season 2 trailer video, and click here for my brand new Deadpool 3 teaser video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.